because after all, if this God, Almighty Being, has influenced the world so much, why can't we have a little demonstration?
A little demonstration.
Yeah.
What I do here is I like to chat with people about really anything.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand the reasons why people believe this stuff and how they concluded whatever they believe is true.
Yeah.
So it's not really so much about the what, but the why. So I let people pick really any topic, any belief, preferably something they really think is true, that they could give reasons for, and I'll just ask questions to try to understand the reasons why.
Oh, that's an interesting premise.
Yeah. Could be like political or spiritual or religious.
Yeah.
Scientific.
I'm not a very religious person.
Could be like karma or ghosts, even stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or-
I'm not.
Or
I've kind of all gone very skeptical on all that stuff.
or you're skeptical.
Yeah, I'm
Gotcha.
a very skeptical person when it comes to such ideas.
Okay. Any less mainstream beliefs at all?
I'm trying to think. I have to consider myself. Ooh, I don't mind. Like, I have opinions on things. Like, it's just anything that's mainstream that would be that I could. I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think. It's a tough one. I tend to think about a lot of what I believe in. Things that are less mainstream, though, I'm not sure.
Any superstitions?
I'm not superstitious at all. I mean, you could say like I'm completely like opposite on that. Like
Yeah.
that's a less mainstream belief. Like a fairly strong atheist and such.
Okay.
But
We could talk about that.
yeah,
and why you're in that position.
yeah, sure, we can do that. It's fine by me.
So you are an atheist.
Yeah, atheist.
I'll time it here for 5. And what does that mean to you?
I mean, for me it means that I just don't believe a celestial being, a high power, is in existence. I don't believe in God, basically.
Okay.
And that's been something that's been around for a long part of my life. But I'm only 21 now, but I remember when I was like 6 or 7, and I was going to a primary school, and I was basically went to church, and I was just thinking, not really sure about this. I don't really buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's where it all started. I mean, I was never really a fan of church or anything like that, so maybe it grew from just a little distaste towards it, and then I just thought about it, mulled over it for a long time, and it's just my position has just slowly strengthened over time about what I believe in, and why I believe it.
Gotcha. And could I get like a sense of your confidence that this is the case, that no gods exist whatsoever?
Yeah,
say on a scale from like 0 to 100?
I mean, I never like to say like I'm 100% confident, because I always think that then leans into arrogance, and I don't want to be like seen as being condescending to anyone. But I guess like I do feel really strongly about it. I feel like yes, this is right. This is true. But it's But so if I was like 0 to 100%, I guess it would be like a 90%, because I don't like to ever like just completely like dismiss something. I like to, all ideas on the table like are worth discussing, and hopefully then you can have a bit of deliberation and get to the truth. So I'm very strongly opinionated on what I believe in, but I never like to believe it. There is an absolute truth about my opinion.
Gotcha. So you said like 90% or so?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And what I'm hearing you say, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like you were like in primary school and you just end up not buying this stuff.
Yeah. It was from a very young age
and
that
over
I just
time, just mulling it over, becoming more strengthened about it.
Yeah.
All right. And what evidence could you see to lower your confidence that it doesn't exist?
I mean, generally, I find a lot of the evidence that is presented, particularly nowadays, is quite coincidental.
Yeah.
Generally, I find that people almost present these ideas that are very spiritual, and I think that's perfectly respectful. But it's not something that I believe necessarily fulfills what I would consider credentials. For me, it would have to be some real physical evidence, and although I obviously do take into account that certain figures, religious figures in the past, definitely existed without a doubt, my skepticism comes when it comes to their connection with higher beings.
Yeah, their powers and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
exactly.
So, what would that physical evidence look like for you?
I don't know. It's a tricky one. I mean, you don't expect that the god to just come down and say hi. Though, I kind of guess I would need some sort of physical like appearance, I guess.
A physical appearance of like
A physical appearance of a
like a
celestial
person?
being
Okay.
would definitely fulfill the criteria from my position.
What would that look like?
What would that look like?
Yeah.
I do not know. That's the wonder. I mean, if there is a god, I mean, heaven knows what he looks like and what he resembles. That would be down to them, whatever they want to.
Yeah. Would he just have to be here and say they're the god, or would they have to do something?
I mean, obviously, they would have to be some sort of, in my opinion, some sort of supernatural, well, not supernatural, but some sort of immortal thing. Have maybe slightly more power. Like, you can't just have a normal person. Although I guess many argue that it's part of, like, it could be part of the appeal that the normal person may be God. In my opinion, it would really require some sort of greater power, because after all, if this God, Almighty Being, has influenced the world so much, why can't we have a little demonstration?
A little demonstration.
Yeah.
What would a demonstration be sufficient to you to lower your confidence about this?
I don't know, just something that is beyond the powers of regular individuals, and you have to be careful there, because you don't want. I mean, I don't believe in superpowers, but if someone ever did come along and had some sort of extra superpowers, you wouldn't want to necessarily just assume them as a godly being. Though at that point, it does seem at that point something else is going on.
Yeah, something funny is going on here.
It is, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a really hard topic, and that's why I completely get why people believe in religion and such.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, it seems like a lot more like an ideological belief to satisfy, like, phenomenon that seems unexplainable, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think, for me, I guess just because I can't explain it doesn't mean, like, my conclusion is, it must be God, especially as no one has come down to take credit for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point. I would need someone to take credit for these supernatural actions, because there are strange things that happen in this world, like, without a doubt. But I don't believe that necessarily means it is a god, it is a celestial being, it is a higher power.
Those are just unexplained things.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like to think, I'm someone who likes to believe there is an explanation for everything, but I don't believe that a god or a celestial being is the rational conclusion from that happening.
Okay.
And maybe just understand that maybe we won't necessarily work out what it is exactly, is part of it.
Gotcha. It's been like last question. So say this being walked up to our table and said, "They're God." Is there anything specific they could do? Maybe, like, consistently demonstrate they could do?
It is such a challenging question. I guess if someone did walk up to this table and claim to be God, I mean, they'd have to like do some pretty, like, superpowers. It's not superpowers,
Like what?
but it's such a question, because I don't believe in any of that, and so anyone who does demonstrate some sort of level of manipulation like that, of the world around them,
Yeah.
they have to be given some sort of extra credit. Whether that makes them a god or not,
Yeah.
I don't know. But at that point, it does. I would say you could say, well, there's something else going on here because
Yeah.
because that is not a natural continuation
I guess, yeah.
of the world and of
Yeah. What do you
how
think
it's
of this
evolving.
idea? Like, there's a ton of people around here. We're here at VidCon,
Yeah.
and I've seen a few amputees around. So if
Mm.
there's like maybe 5, 10 amputees, people who don't even know each other,
Mm.
and this God figure could like grow amputees' limb back one after the other, and like say that all the amputees lined up here in a row, would that have any effect on your confidence?
Well, I mean, if someone started doing that, then yes, I would be fairly impressed. And
Where would your
convinced.
confidence be then?
I mean, my confidence in my atheism would probably go down a little.
How much?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. I'm trying to imagine myself in the position. It would probably go down to like 30% because at that point something is going on. And I think the fact is my position is that nothing really has gone on, nothing that's really physically completely scientifically backed up that has been able to convince me. If something like that happened in front of my eyes and you know I could not deny it, then yes, there must be something. I mean, I don't necessarily think that's you can say, well, there's a God, there's a Lord, but you could definitely attribute it to something more a higher power.
Gotcha. It's cool. So there's just stuff that could change your mind.
There is
you
stuff
could
that
see.
could change my mind. I don't expect to see it, and I just don't think it will happen. And that's my point. It's just an absence of that happening that is essentially not convinced me.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, sweet, James. Thanks so much for the
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you.
Really good.
It's a pleasure.
Sure. Nice to meet you. It's a channel I have where I like to talk with people about nearly anything. I ask them, okay,